The member from Thornhill.
And I'm going to call attention to the fact that you just introduced me the way you normally do as the member for Thornhill, because we refer to each other in this place by the names of our ridings or constituencies. And I'm proud indeed to be the member for Thornhill on a number of levels, not least which being that Thornhill is the home to the largest concentration of Jewish people in the entire province of Ontario. Indeed, if not in Canada, Thornhill is now 47% Jewish. And one of the things that I might call attention to is the fact that there isn't one person in Thornhill of that faith who has not been touched in some way by the Holocaust. But I also call attention to the fact that you introduced me by my riding name rather than my given name, because my name is Peter Shurman, as most people know. But what you don't know is that my middle name is Emil. Emil is a name given to me in honor of my paternal grandfather, Emil Shurman. I've never met him. Emil Shurman and his wife, Elfriede Stern Shurman, perished in Theresienstadt. They were starved to death by the Nazis. They, along with many other members of my father's family, are people that I never had a chance to meet. So the Holocaust, to me, is a very, very personal topic, both as a Jew and as a member of a family of survivors. I grew up with my father, obviously, for the first 20 or so years of my life. One of the things that I know that our honorees today can understand very well, because they're so public in helping us remember what happened when we have no personal memory of our own, is that many survivors could not speak about what happened to them or what happened to their families. My father was one of those people. I could never ask questions and I could never get answers. The one time that I actually poked through that veil was the only time in my life that I saw my father cry. And I realized that there was no way in the world that I could ever get that information. So it's through all of you and through all of the other survivors, the people who, through Yad Vashem and other societies like it, bring us these stories, that I can understand what my own roots were about. And I think that's true for many people, given the fact that 6 million perished in the Holocaust. So it's an important thing to recognize what Yad Vashem represents, why it is such an important organization in this day and age. For me and all of the people in our 60s like me who were born immediately post-war, for my children and for their children. Holocaust survivors get thinner and thinner in their ranks every year. In the Jewish tradition, we wish our friends 120 Jor. That's Yiddish for 120 years. May you live 120 years. None of you are at 120 years yet, but I hope you all make it. And I hope I do too. But that's a long, long life to contemplate. The point I'm trying to make is that in 10 or 20 years, we'll only be able to recount the stories, and we won't have the blessing that each of you represents of having first-hand knowledge so that we can pass it along. Because as was said at the ceremonies today, it is only by passing this information from generation to generation that we keep the memory alive. And it's only by looking at the positive that you have all generated in your lives, by creating families, creating businesses, creating new life, creating, for me, the Thornhills of the world, the communities of the world, in spite of what the Nazis tried to do. It's that makes us want to go on and makes us understand what never again really means. And Yad Vashem is an organization that truly lives by that slogan, by that never again. Even here in Ontario, wonderful Ontario, we see that hatred thrives, unfortunately. Very recently I made a statement on this subject. In Thornhill, we saw this summer alone 3 distinct and visible cases of hate crimes. Swastikas cut into the greens of a golf course. Swastikas sprayed on the hoods of cars in very predominantly Jewish neighborhoods. I myself was the victim of hate, and I can't get into detail, but hate right here in the legislature of the province of Ontario this past summer. The crimes have all been referred to various hate crimes units, but that doesn't stop the people who perpetrate them from thinking in those terms. And it is an unacceptable thing in the province of Ontario in these times for us to tolerate anything like that. Ontario has come so far in promoting an inclusive society and a culture. You represent the very best of it. We have Jewish Heritage Month, which I was so fortunate to help sponsor with my friends from the NDP and the Liberal Party, the member for Parkdale High Park and the member for Eglinton Lawrence. We have a resolution that passed unanimously that I presented to this legislature condemning campus hatred through Israeli Apartheid Week. These are the stepping stones that we in Ontario have had to build to create in Ontario what I consider to be a pillar of cultural inclusion. So with the help of organizations like Yad Vashem and with you particularly, we can continue to fight hatred and bigotry in all forms. Never again. Thank you, Speaker.